And if your OB or your midwife does not have an answer to this question, that's a problem. Hi, my name is Adriana, and this is Adriana the Doula, my channel where we talk about all things birth, childbirth, education, maternal mortality, and pushing the envelope in order to create a better healthcare system for all of us. So today we're going to be talking about 5 questions that you should be asking your OB team, your midwife team, in order to really create the right environment for you to have your baby, and also to choose the right practice to follow. Now, I know a lot of people, they are kind of assigned an OB or midwife when you call your insurance or when you make an appointment with your regular practice in order to deliver your baby, and that's because it's just the way that your insurance goes. Maybe you have public insurance or like universal healthcare, so you don't have much of a choice of where you can go. But I do want to just reinforce for everyone that your health is in your hands, and so the team that you choose to take care of you is ultimately your choice. So even in a practice where there could be 10 OBs, there could be 10 midwives, it's really you are charged with the task of choosing the right one for you. And this may take one try where you meet the first OB and you love them and you want to go with them, or it could take a couple tries where you make a couple different appointments with a couple people in order to really get a sense of who they are and whether you feel that they will support the birth that you want. Okay, so 5 questions to ask your OB or midwife. Why are we asking questions? Why is this important? Like I said, it's super important to be able to create the environment that you want. If you would call it a real estate agent, for example, the first thing that they would ask you is, what kind of place do you want? Do you want an apartment? Do you want a house? Do you want a condo? They would ask you questions to try to fit your needs. The same thing goes with our healthcare system. It's important to find providers, to find practices that fit our needs. So it doesn't matter if you have no budget and you're not paying for your healthcare services, you're paying through a universal healthcare system, or if you're paying out of pocket, private pay, and you're paying co-pays and you're paying your whole entire bill. It does not matter. Either way, you should be advocating for the birth that you want and choosing the providers that really fit your needs. So today we're going to talk about 5 questions, like I said, to ask your OB or midwife, even ask your doula, honestly, in order to really create the team and the environment best suited to help you deliver your baby the way that you want. Sorry, I have a piece of paper, so just to keep me on track, so that's why I'm looking down. So the first question to ask is, what is your birth philosophy? It's important to ask this question, and I think it's important for you new moms or people who are thinking about having children to really think about, what's my birth philosophy? What do I want out of my birth? What do I think about birth? This is important to ask your OB or your midwife and or your doula, because it's important to know what their goals are, and really hearing their philosophy will let you know what their goals are. This will tell you things like the kind of positions that they suggest to their clients. This will tell you about the kind of pain management they offer their clients. This will tell you the level of intervention that they are inclined to use, whether they are very intervention forward, or whether they kind of laid back when it comes to interventions and kind of go with the flow. This will also kind of let you know what kind of care you can expect after your delivery. Are you going to see your OB or midwife again? When are you going to see them? So this is really important. So number 1, what is your birth philosophy? And if your OB or your midwife does not have an answer to this question, that's a problem because you're practicing in the birth world, and so you need to have a philosophy that you go by in order to care for your clients. So the second question is, how do you support a patient or a client wanting a blank delivery? Now you fill in the blank. Do you want a natural vaginal delivery? Do you want a supported delivery? Do you want a cesarean delivery? You put in the situation that best suits you. Knowing how your provider will support you through those situations, whatever your case may be, is super important in being able to determine what kind of provider you want. Knowing what kind of support that your OB or midwife offers you during this time is super important in being able to choose the right provider for you, because if they're saying that they don't have a support method for a natural delivery, or they do not have a support method for cesarean delivery, that's a problem. Because our healthcare system ultimately is about making people well, making people better, and And going back about birth philosophy, if this is a provider who is very much intervention forward, then that's something important for you to know. If you want intervention, if you're having a complicated pregnancy, if you have some pre-existing conditions that would complicate your pregnancy, it's super important to know how hands-on or hands-off they will be in supporting your birth and also in the birthing suite. The third question is, how many doctors or midwives are in the practice? Are you following with one doctor that is the only doctor in that practice? Are you following with a doctor who works with a team of 10, with a team of 20? It's important to know that. It's important to know whether your midwife is the only midwife on the team or whether she or he is one of 15 or 20, because that will ultimately this is important in knowing, because ultimately that will let you know how likely it is that your midwife or your doctor will be there on the day that you deliver. So for example, if there's 7 doctors in a practice, there may be one for every day, so one for every day of the week, and they kind of rotate through that. There may be one who's on call, so that's how they rotate. If your doctor is the only doctor in the practice, which I don't think is very common, then they may be the only one who's on call, so they're there all the time, which obviously wouldn't make sense. How likely is it that you're going to be delivering my child? How often do you communicate with your colleagues, the other doctors and the other midwives or the other midwives about your patients? How often are you guys huddling? How often are you guys meeting together in order to discuss your different patients and the needs of your different patients? Super important to know. I'll leave a PDF below where you can I will spell all this out for you guys, and you guys can have that in hand, and you can have it with you when you go and meet with your doctor or midwife as well. So in asking how likely is it that you will be delivering my baby, it's important to know, because if you spent all this time and energy in trying to foster a relationship with your OB or midwife, and they're not going to be the one that's going to be delivering your child, it's important to know that even if they're not there, are they advocating for you? Are they really letting their colleagues or other nurses, staff, and things like that know what your needs are? And this will kind of roll into creating a birth plan, but that's another video for another day. How does your team deal with emergency situations or emergent situations? This is important in knowing, because when it is an emergency, things are going to happen quickly and it will seem like there is not much explanation going on. And so it's important beforehand to know, what does an emergent situation look like for this practice, in this hospital, in this birthing center? What does that look like? What should I expect? Who can come with me? Where will I be? These are important things to know in preparing for delivering your baby, because we want to prepare for, as much as possible, the unexpected. And things can happen unexpectedly. Of course, we shoot for an uncomplicated delivery, depending on what your circumstance is, an uncomplicated delivery, but we want to make it very plain. If things do get into an emergency or an emergent situation and things have to happen sort of quickly, for example, if there needs to be a vacuum or forceps delivery, if there needs to be a C-section, if you need to be put under, how does that look? Spell that out for me, make it plain for me so I know what to expect. Finally, the last question to be asking your OB or midwife, the 5th question, is, when will I see you again? That's super important. Will I see you directly after delivery? Will I see you in the next couple days after delivery? Will you come in and check on me? Will I see you at our postpartum appointment, which is 6 weeks later? Will I see you in 3 weeks? Will I see you in 2 weeks? Will I see you in 1 week? When will I see you again? When will we be able to debrief, to discuss how the birth went, to check in with me? When will I see you again? So ultimately, having your ideal birth has a lot of factors, and sometimes it can feel like we are out of control when it comes to these different factors, but it's important to know that in your birthing experience, you are in complete control. You should be in complete control, unless it's an emergent situation where lives are being threatened. So in order to prepare for your birth, it's super important to ask these hard questions. Maybe your midwife or your doctor may not have the answer readily available, but they should be getting back to you with a phone call, getting back to you at your next appointment, with an email, in order to answer your questions. Maybe they'll take your questions and follow up with you. These are important things to know in order to secure the right OB or midwife. And if they're not doing these things, it's important that you take action and you ask for a different midwife. You request a different midwife. You request a different OB in order to really secure the birth that you want. I hope you guys are staying healthy, staying safe, and I'm wishing you all a safe, healthy delivery, uncomplicated pregnancies, healthy babies, healthy mamas, healthy families. Thanks for watching. See you next time.